What's going on, guys? We're back with Hoops on the Brain. I wanted to change it up a little bit today and get a little more macro in the athletic realm because at the private school where we work, this is Coach AJ. He's my head football coach at the little private school where we work in Houston. And we have to share athletes all the time. We kind of schedule our seasons so we can share. Our kids are in the weight room together all year. So we don't have the specialist culture that some of you guys have. Our best athletes have to play everything. We got to stretch our athletes out and get the most out of them. The reason I have him in here is because I want him to talk about, and he and I to talk about why we love sports and why we love our particular sports. Me with basketball, him with
football is romantic is a way of a way for me to kind of explain my career and looking at it in a different frame. So a long time ago, me and my dad were talking. My dad coached college football for 25 years, bounced all around the country, was a head coach when he was 25 years old. Met my mom actually at when he was a graduate assistant at Idaho State. So that's where the romance started right there. Jimbo Slice with the afro back in the day somehow met Debbie Lou and it worked. And so that's where the romance started. But me and my dad were talking and we started saying, like, you can't make this stuff up. We talk about the experiences, where his coaching career took him, and then fast forward to my playing career. I played high school football in Southern Oregon. Ended up having a pretty good senior year. Got recruited a bunch of places. Went on a gypsy soul type mission and played football at about 39 different small colleges.
He's exaggerating. He was 5.
But yeah,
it was
five-ish. I started games at 4 at quarterback, like variety of different amounts. But then I went and played in Europe for four years and some change. And the storyline just kept being like, I didn't throw for 10,000 yards and go undefeated and win a state championship, national championship, whatever. But it took me to this place and it allowed me to meet these people and it gave me this experience and it gave me these memories. And that's kind of where we started to coin the phrase, like, football is romantic. Mm-hmm. It's not so much, the romance between a man and a woman, but just the whole idea of a feeling and a vibe of something that you get caught up in, and it's bigger than what you initially set out to do.
Yeah.
And I think that the football is romantic thing is something I told you in the interview, and I think that is, the first thing I said in the interview was, well, let's get weird. Yes. And then you're like, I'm in. Let's get weird. So then
I had so many stiff interviews at that point. I was done with them.
Yeah, like, let's get weird. So we did that, and then as soon as we did that, I'm like, okay, I've proven I'm a weirdo, but now let's reel it back in and let's give him, like, the poetic side. So, but football is romantic actually is something that we always said, and then my brother-in-law actually put it into he's a photographer, a talented guy, and put it into a nice kind of photo with that quote with it, football is romantic, and it's kind of just something that has stuck and I've used in a lot of capacities.
So that when that conversation changed the trajectory of my career in life. I take things less seriously now. I'm kind of a basketball hippie with the way I coach. Like, oh, guys, mistakes are going to happen. It's fine. We're going to do it. But so I started thinking after that. I started thinking a lot like, this guy loves his game the way that I love mine. And that's what made us so simpatico was how much we love our. And I went, well, football is romantic. What the heck is basketball? Yeah. Why do I love basketball? Because basketball is art.
Yeah.
100%. Basketball is. I'm not an artsy person. I'm not
at all.
Photoshop guy. I can't paint you anything. I can't draw anything.
You're very like this.
But with basketball, you're inside this rectangle, and there's nothing but room for creativity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, my philosophy, if we talked about this with Jason yesterday, was like, my philosophy is I want kids to be able to touch the paint off a drive or off a cut and just make good decisions. Mm-hmm. Well, what does a good decision look like? Well, that could be 100 different things.
Yeah, a million different
based on your skill set, your ability, your imagination. Like, I get to coach a game that has imagination in it.
Right.
And you get to push on kids to be creative, to make new decisions, to push boundaries, to push to the point of making mistakes, deal with that and learn from it. Mm-hmm. And for a person that's not very creative to have such a creative outlet for me is so huge.
Right. So, so the approach you're taking with basketball is romantic is kind of the nuances of the game itself, the movements within the game.
Yeah. You can get lost in it.
Right. Whereas for me, football is romantic is the experience and the people, places, things, memories that I have because of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Less the gameplay, but same thing can be said for football is that you have 22 dudes running around with their heads cut off, like chickens with their heads cut off. Some of them know what they're doing, some of them don't. Some are big, some are small, some are fast. And then out of nowhere, when it's just total chaos, somebody can do something that just is so beautiful and makes so much sense in that moment that I get that side of it as well as far as the gameplay being romantic.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you and I have talked a lot about how our games are kind of on similar paths right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming less regimented. It's becoming less complicated. Let's spread it out. Mm-hmm. Let's put our athletes in space, and let's beg you to make a choice so we can burn you. It's kind of the same concept. Shoot, I've heard air raid people call it basketball and turf. Right,
and I mean, it's apples and oranges. So back in the day, it used to be, let's get in the power eye and let's run the football, and where we have to have perfect splits and we have to take a perfect first step and have great leverage, and all that stuff's still true in football. But let's harp less on that and more on, hey, if this guy comes here, don't be afraid to get funky, get out here and make this play. Same thing in hoops, whereas it used to be, I know when I played high school basketball, it got to the point sometimes it'd be like, make 3 passes before we go to the hoop or something
watching
like
paint
that.
dry.
Yeah, or it's like, you're either going an L cut or a backdoor cut, and that's it. And it's like, okay, well, what if we have a fast break? What if I see a guy running down the lane? Can we just play basketball? And I think that that's where the game, both sports are headed. It's becoming more that way. Less structure. Different type of structure. I think there's still structure, but there's more freedom.
Freedom.
And ultimately, I mean, wow, talk about a full circle. I mean, freedom is the reason I traveled all the places and why football became romantic. Why this saying ever popped up was I just wanted freedom to run, learn, and live. And I think that it goes perfectly with playing sports. And when you're teaching kids how to play sports, is more than anything at our level. I mean, private Christian schools, a lot of smart kids, a lot of kids that have a ton of pressure on them to do great in school. They want to do great. They have big goals, big dreams.
Kids that naturally overachieve.
Overachievers. More than anything, I'm trying to get kids to relax.
Yes, same.
I
have to tell kids to shoot the ball.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I know.
Like, it's sometimes I've coached at big public schools, and it's like, hey man, we just focus up for like 2 seconds.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that that's across the board, every kid, but here I've learned this school, it's like, hey, smile.
Yeah.
Take a breather.
Shift out of fifth gear. Take a deep breath.
You're better if you chill out. You're a better player if you just relax. If you press, just like anything in life. If you go talk to a girl at a restaurant or at the movies, at the bowling alley, and you're like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? And you're pressing, she's like, dude, get away from me. But if you're like, hey, what's up? And kind of move on, and you're smooth with it, it works. It's the same thing with sports. It's like, if you press and you're like, I got to make a perfect throw, I got to make this entry pass perfect, then you lock up, and people can see that you're not flowing, and it's not natural.
Yeah. We love the unique experiences it offers kids. It's free adversity.
Yeah.
It's adversity without needing therapy at the end, because nothing is a better barometer for life than being thrown out in a challenging game, or being challenged by a coach to do more.
Yeah.
Having to go talk to a coach about more playing time.
Yeah.
Practice asking the girl out, practice asking for a raise. Same thing.
But it's just that, there's these moments, and I know I just used the example, but I call it the cute girl scenario, because for high school boys, I mean, it is what it is.
And we used to always say when you walk up to her locker, but our kids don't use lockers.
Yeah.
It's
different.
I don't know where to start the analogy.
So I just say it's the cute girl scenario. It's what I refer to it as. If you see a cute girl, say something. If you don't, somebody else will, or the window's gonna be gone like that. And I use that analogy for two things. I use it for your career as a whole. Like, if you see something you want, go get it right now, or else it's gone. And the moment's gone, the window of time has passed. And then obviously, in a smaller sense, is if you're gonna go make a play on the basketball court, on the football field, and you see an opening, or you see a guy you think is open, or you have a step on a guy, go make the play.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, someone else will, or that moment's passed.
Well, and to brag on you and me for a second, there's a reason why we were both head coaches before we turned 30 years old.
Right.
Because athletics ingrained in us, sorry to go basketball, shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we probably don't have the experience for that job, but why not us?
Yeah.
And the ability to, you don't have to wait your turn. And especially with the world we live in, wherever you can
Definitely not.
start a business on the internet overnight, like shoot your dang shot.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that has to do with, and that goes back to the travel thing with trying new things, going new places, not being afraid to take a risk on that moment, that cute girl scenario. But it's for me, you can do that a million times. Maybe it doesn't work out. And I think that goes back to what I talked about with my career is I kept transferring, I kept going, traveling, looking for whatever this was. But then I realized I was already doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just was looking for the place where I finally got to it later in my playing career, and now I'm in it in my coaching careers. I want to go to a place where people are just like, yeah, this works. And I think that you don't know unless you put it out there. And once you put it out there, it might not work for 9 out of 10 people. But then you meet that one AD, or you meet that you meet that one coach. It's like, yeah, that's what I've been looking for. You're different than the other 9 guys that fit with these other 9 places. You're the type of guy we want around here. So yeah, you just kind of gotta own what you are.
Mm-hmm. It's romantic.
It is.
It's art.